Welcome everyone to pre-market prep at the close. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin with you to wrap up this Tuesday session. And we were gonna say, or I was gonna say at least, I don't quite understand why we're up so much today, but a lot has happened in the past few minutes, Joel. I'll bring up a chart of the S&P futures here, and you can tell us what exactly has gone down in the past few minutes.
You call it the hour of power, and that's exactly what you got. You turned 315 at that turning point in the day. 28.87 was your close of that bracket, right near the high of the day of 89.75. And as Dennis would say, kaplooey here. We did get some Fed guys speaking. We got a guy speaking on CNBC. But whatever way you slice it, folks, we came down to make a new intraday low at 55 and a quarter. And boy, oh boy, I don't even know that if that's going to stand up here. Currently trading at 58 and a quarter. The market cannot live on high oil prices alone. Up for the fifth consecutive day, up $3.50, trading in the after hours here at 26.29. So that was a lot of enthusiasm for the market, for the oil stocks that started carrying us for most of the session until these negative comments. And I believe we have some negative news coming out on Thursday, we have some employment news coming out on Thursday and Friday. And then we obviously have some negative news coming out of Europe regarding the COVID-19 virus. Gold down 50 cents. That's quiet for gold at 17.12.50.80, trading in the after hours. Silver going opposite directions. That's up 30 cents at 15.10. Bitcoin, very quiet range, 400-point range, trading up $30 at 8,965. Spencer, what did you do to this market?
Yeah, I didn't do anything, but a few Fed speakers did. Richard Clarida and James Bullard are both speaking right now. Clarida's on
New
CNBC.
low for the intraday session, 54 and a quarter. Go ahead, Spence.
Yeah, so Clarita's been on CNBC here for the past. I don't actually know. I don't have it up right now, so I can't see if he's still on. But he was on as recently as a few minutes ago, and he basically talked the market down here. I'll just read some comments here, some highlights from the Benzinga Pro. He said, "We are living through the most severe contraction in activity, surge in employment that we've seen in our lifetimes." He said our recovery could begin in the second half of the year. But he also said that if it doesn't, if we don't start seeing a recovery in the second half of the year, then we'll have a new set of problems. I'm sorry, that was Bullard who said that.
Bullard saying that,
James
huh?
Bullard said that. Clarita said that we can't minimize that we're in a recession right now. The Fed is building a bridge to a recovery with its lending facilities that can fill in until the market can recover. It may well be the case that more policy support is needed from the Fed and some fiscal policy as well. So, yeah, I mean, the market is not like what Richard Clarita and James Bullard have had to say here in the past few minutes.
Well, for sure here, taking a comparison, we did have a low yesterday in the June contract at 27.71. So when we got up to 28.89.75, that wasn't quite at last Friday's close, or excuse me, last Thursday's close after we had the lower open. But people sniffing 2,900 here. So those comments came at a time, I think, when the market was a little vulnerable heading into the final hour after a nice rally in the S&Ps, based on really not much. I mean, earnings, the big boys have already reported earnings, but I think they kind of caught the market at a vulnerable time here. We did bounce off 54 and a quarter, back up in the 28.60 handle.
Yeah, so let's just go through some of the earnings reports that we're going to get after the close today, because there are
Sure.
some big names. We're going to get EA, Disney, Pinterest, Activision Blizzard, Beyond Meat, Occidental Petroleum, Cheesecake Factory. I never thought I'd be excited for that report, but I am, because we know they couldn't pay their rent. So let's start with Beyond Meat here. This is the one that I sort of promised we'd get to this morning, and then we kind of ran out of time. So let's look at Beyond Meat. They're expected to report an EPS of 6 cents per share on revenue of $86.43 million.
Okay, and just to clarify here, I get this question almost every day from Aramis. What do I think about earnings? I don't think about earnings. I don't have, and Spencer, other people have mentioned this on the show. Sometimes, even if you have the report, good earnings, bad guidance, bad earnings, good guidance, someone leaves the company. There's so many factors that go into these reports. That it's very hard. So, what I like to do is I like to just give you some parameters where if it's a good report, where it's a bad report, and areas that, would be significant to me on good news or bad news, because we know these stocks move off earnings. Also, for if you're trading after hours or you're trading these earnings, unless you're like a super experienced guy like Triple D, initiating positions can be extremely hazardous to your bank account. But on the other hand, if you do have an exit point, and I'll just use Beyond Meat as an example, if I was long this thing and they got crazy and they took it up to 116.64, that's been the high of the rebound, I would say, hey, I'd let something go there, maybe 115, 116. On the downside, if you're trying to identify support here, I would take a look at yesterday's low. That's way down at 88.51, the previous day's low at 88.90. So I'd say on a whoosh down, see what happens at 89. After 89, things really open up to the downside. S&P's back under 28.60 here, trying to end the day up over 30 handles. So that's what I'm looking at in Beyond Meat. Activision Blizzard, nice run in this stock. Ooh, they're looking for a good report out of this one. New high for the move. I will just say, be careful here, folks. 70.29. That was your high back in November of 2018. How high did we get today? Did we get to that level? Nope. 69.63. So I bet you a lot of people maybe at 70 here. Take a look at that one as a potential target. On the downside, if they don't like the report, low expectations, man, you're a couple
No,
bucks from
high
yeah, high
expectations.
expectations.
High
I'm sorry.
expectations.
66.97. That's your low for the day. I just look at the daily lows. I don't think they're going to whack it down to the $63 area. If you do, you have one, two, three, four lows. Let's just call it 63 even, but I don't anticipate that. Also, EA, is that rallying ahead of the report? It
Yep.
sure is. The stock just hit 120 earlier. Same kind of scenario with EA here. What you got is a pair of monthly highs, November and or October, excuse me, September and October of 2018. Two monthly highs. I'm not talking daily highs. I'm not talking weekly highs. I'm talking about monthly highs at the 121 area. That's only a couple bucks away. We'll see if we can take that out in the after hours. On the downside, if they start to hit the same, the chart looks identical to Activision here. Today's low is a little bit closer. So if you want to play a little bit closer to the belt, 116.30. After that, let's call 112.50 your next area of support.
If I could just piggyback on what Joel was saying about expectations here, this is a good example. Let's look at Chegg, CHGG. Okay, this is an online learning platform. Okay, so expectations were high, and if you look at the stock, forget what happened today. If you look at before today, it wasn't quite at all time highs, but it was getting there. It was knocking on the doors.
Yep.
It was a couple dollars away from all time highs before today. Or before today. And then so what happens yesterday after the bell? They come out with earnings. The earnings were good and they gave guidance. They gave Q2 sales guidance above the estimate. So a good report plus good guidance, and that gets you where you're at today, which is up 32%.
Yeah,
Uh,
unbelievable move on this one. I wish I would have looked and did a little bit more homework. I did write this as the pre-market prep stock of the day. I mean, online education, where you're in a point where schools across the world are shuttered. Oh man, you got to figure people are. Oh, we got some buying balances here today, folks. We just dipped under 60, just had a quick pop to 65. So we'll see what those buying balances are to see how big they are, trying to get the market off the low. Just a quick pop there to 65 and a quarter. So that's going to be our mark. We get above 65 a quarter, we may be able to run this into the close, currently trading 64 even. Yeah, this thing 30, I think I noted maybe a 16% short interest. So if you came in this thing short and opened up 10 bucks higher, or you shorted this thing off the open at 53.60, you had absolutely no time to cover. Went down to 53 even, high of 61.33. To me, that's going to be a significant high moving forward because we backed off $3 on it. And listen to this. You talk about people jumping in the pool. The 9-day or 20-day average volume in this stock is 2.7 million, right? 37 million shares have traded so far. So there's a whole heck of a lot of people taking some new longs in this thing. I don't know how to play it. I'm always afraid of heights. I guess if the best thing you could do is maybe get a couple days of consolidation and then another move higher. But that 61.33, we backed off $3 off that level. Good level moving forward. And also today's closing price will be an important one. Earl Crosby is asking about FLIR.
Wait. Hold that thought for 1 second. I just
Sure.
want to piggyback on that. So in a normal earnings season, if you listen to our show for prior to February, in a
Yes,
normal
sir.
earnings season, you know that we say we've observed that there's typically a hierarchy of things that can affect a stock heading into earnings, right? Typically, you have sentiment, which can trump guidance, which can trump earnings. Okay. Now throw that all out the window for this season because we don't know. No one knows anything. So my point in bringing Chegg up was that expectations were sky high. Clearly, that doesn't mean the stock couldn't have gone to all-time highs because it did. But my point is, you just don't know. We have no idea. It is impossible to know anything or really, I'm finding it really hard to make any sort of calls at all. You can't make a call because you just don't know. Stocks with expectations through the roof, like Activision and EA, could blast off after earnings if they beat. They could crash if they miss. But it's 10 times harder than normal to gauge
Yes. Yep.
what's going to happen because the range of possibilities are so much greater. So that was my point is
It's a good point.
if you have an opinion on the stock and whether it's going to beat or miss, or great. Whether they beat or miss is not an indication of what the stock will do. Right? It could do the exact opposite. So, in Check's case, they had high expectations. They blew it away, and you're seeing the stock in blast off mode today. But I don't know if you had asked me, I before I would have said, sure, they'll probably beat and they'll probably hit the stock because they wouldn't have beaten enough. But clearly, I would have been wrong. So okay, let's go to Foot. Is it Foot Locker? Is that what you're going to do, Joel? No,
No.
Fiat Chrysler. Was
Um,
that the one?
Oh, no, no, no. I was gonna just someone in the chat asked about FLIR, and I'll just go to that to one
Okay,
second. I mean, the
FLR.
company did beat, right? It
Yeah.
beat 7 cents in EPS. The company only makes $131 million versus 123 million estimate. Their subscribers are up year over year.
Wait, but,
Uh,
read this comment here from the CFO
I know,
that we have in Pro. It is difficult to predict how much, if any, of Chegg's first
I
half
know.
momentum will continue. You just don't know with any of these things.
Yeah.
So
And how much did it add in market cap for a stock that made that's what Dennis will talk about tomorrow. Oh, it added, $87 billion in market cap, and
yeah,
the stock has only made 131 million. So if ands and buts were candy and nuts, that whole story. But let's keep an eye.
know what that
FLIR
means.
Triple D, he owns this one. He's trying to talk me into it. Pulling back off earnings ahead of their report. Uh, Infrared systems, right? Imaging
Uh, yeah,
systems.
infrared cameras that I believe
Yeah.
that I think Amazon's using in their
Yeah.
warehouses.
I think that, yeah. I mean, will it be reflected in this quarter? No. Next quarter, who knows? But yeah, a longer term play, betting. I mean, that's the thing that evolves like from 9/11. Security and cybersecurity and different things evolve from our into the economy. And
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen here. That's the same thing's going to happen. Is it going to be Zoom teledocs or online? I tell you right now, I'm going to keep an eye on this CHGG because I think of one thing that's drastically going to change. I think is education in our country, and if you could short universities and institutions, I,
Oh, oh,
oh
what a trade.
yeah, is there an
Yeah.
ETF?
I've been thinking about that, and I've been thinking about how to trade this meat shortage that we're going to have in America. The supply chains are all screwed up. They've had to close meat packing facilities because of the virus, and so there's going to be a meat shortage in this country. There already is a meat shortage in this country, and I've been thinking how to play that, and also I've been thinking about if I could short colleges, I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't
I'm
know.
worried about
I
my
don't know a way
I'm
to do
worried.
that
I'm
though.
worried about my good old University of Michigan. But anyways, I'd like to see this FLIR pull back a little bit more. I think an ideal entry for me would be they don't have a great report. You went from 24, let's call it 40, 46. That's easy. 22-point move, 11. I mean, I'd be licking my chops as this came into 35, 36 off a bad report. Not sure that's exactly not exactly sure that's going to happen, but longer term play, betting on results. Beyond Meat could be a play on that, but I mean, I had a Beyond Meat burger the other day.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's not
yeah.
bad.
You know what. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, that might be a play. It's just the valuation is something hard to play. I think that, another thing that's come out of this crisis is going to be, maybe people are going to be healthier. I mean, I see people taking walks that never took walks around this neighborhood. So maybe they're going to stop eating meat. They're going to be healthier, boom, boom, boom. But yeah, sorry about that, Popcorn 89. Sad state of affairs when you're shorting higher learning. I mean, I just look at the expenses. I mean, people paying 50, 60, 70 grand to go to these out of school, out of state schools. And now, who even knows if they're going to open in September. But anyways, what else we got to look at? Spoos did we get the final balances there, Spencer?
Oh, it snuck across my screen. I saw 1.1 billion to buy
Yeah,
is
we
one
got the
number.
pop,
So
but man, after this kind of run, I think people are looking to take some chips off the table. That pop, wild hour here, man. I'm glad I'm on with you guys during this hour because I'd be losing my tuchus in this kind of trading here. We just went up to 28.69.50, and we're back here at 28.60. So a lot of choppy trading here going into the close.
let's look at Disney. This is one of only five stocks that I own directly in my portfolio, and it's the
Yep.
only one of the five that I'm like actually I'm the most excited about. But I am really really worried here. I added to my position about a month ago, but I am really worried about this one. This could be
I
bad.
mean, I mean, is the streaming going to be able to make up for everything else?
No, no, no. It no way. No way.
Yeah. I mean, the parks, I mean, you talk about a business model permanently changed. That's it. I mean, and those parks were so darn expensive in the first place. So I just can't, put on, the Mickey Mouse ears and just be all happy about this. I'm not long the stock. I think we were long it a long time ago. And one of our portfolios sold it way too early, did not participate in the run. And man, this stock was having problems before the crisis, right? That's one thing that we talked
Uh,
about.
were
It
they?
was, Spencer. It was,
Were
wasn't
they?
it? It peaked in
Mm, no, I wouldn't say that. I
December,
mean, I I I,
November.
I bought this after either right before or right after the Disney Plus pop in April of last year, and I mean, I don't. I was up in my position until all this happened.
Yeah, I
So
remember you and Dennis are all goofy about buying that, and I just remember I don't know, it was just too high. It gapped up on fluff, all the numbers and everything, and we'll see if plus. What about sports? I mean, holy Toledo! I mean, ESPN. When I'm watching stone skipping contest and cherry pit spitting contest, I mean, over the weekend, I mean, sports are hurting for certain, and we don't even know what's going to happen with all those big contracts other to do in, yeah, hands off for me on the House of
okay,
Mouse. ending up here 4 o'clock. We're going to still end green, folks. But the bad news is we've gave a lot back here. We're going to looks like we're due to close here under 28.60 near the lows of the intraday session. Just a little bit too much too fast for the market, but overall still a good day. Spencer, anything you want to
Yeah,
wrap?
just real quick, schedule wise, EA typically out around 405, Pinterest typically out at 403 to 405, Virgin Galactic typically out at 405, Mattel out at 405, Beyond Meat out at 405, Activision and Disney also out at 405. So we tried to cover more stocks than that we missed in the morning show. Hope we were able to do that. Ended up being a good day for the market in light of that week final hour of trading. Please remember all the information from this broadcast is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. Everyone have a great rest of your day wherever you are. Joel, Dennis, and I will be back with you tomorrow morning. Have a good one.